All right, welcome to the Rooftop Spotlight, where we highlight our spotlight artists. Today, we are
Yo,
going
yo.
to be interviewing our spotlight artist. His name is Jabriel. I don't know if you've heard of him, but you need to get familiar with him. He is absolutely amazing. I love his sound, and I love the whole aesthetic of it all. So, how are you feeling today, Jabriel?
Feeling good. Just
That's
got off a stage last night.
really
Crazy show. Tour stop with Ken Martin in
okay.
Atlanta. It was dope. Yeah.
Nice, nice. So,
Yeah.
you're currently on tour right now.
He's on tour. I just was opening.
Oh, okay. You were
Yeah.
opening for him.
Yeah.
Okay. So
hmm
you were in hot ATL. How did that go for you? Did the crowd?
It's hot as hell down here. It's hot down here. The crowd was loving it though. It was dope. It was dope.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome. Well, I'm
I
glad.
never performed at that venue before. It was Knock Music House, but yeah, it was dope. Got a lot of love in there.
Okay, awesome. It was a lot of people in the crowd. About how many
Oh
people
yeah.
do you think was there?
About 100.
Okay, that's a nice size
Yeah.
crowd. Okay.
hmm
Well, I love that for you. I'm glad you're coming into more opportunities and whatnot. So, really, I just want to interview today and get to know a little bit more about you. I guess one of the first questions I have for you is when did music become an important part of your life?
Um, Music has always been important to me, but when I think of when I wanted to take it seriously and it became like a real thing for me, I'd probably
Yeah,
say my 20s, early 20s.
early
Like in
20s.
college, yeah.
I mean, you don't look a
Coming out
day
of college.
19, so when was that?
That's hilarious.
Okay, so
Definitely over 19.
yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. I mean, it's good. You have a young look to you, so you'll be around for
So,
a while. That's what we're
oh
praying
yeah.
for.
Yeah.
So you said right around college. Now, where did you go to
Yeah.
college? Did you go to school for music or fine arts, or was it something that just kind of reappeared in your life and you're like, hey, you know what? I'm gonna take it serious.
Uh, I did not go to school for music. School's kind of a blur to me, honestly. Like, I don't know
Really?
if yeah, it's just like, I remember people and things, but
Yeah.
I've been grinding so long now and just kind of picking up and going that I really just be so locked in on forward.
Yeah.
Didn't go to school for music though. It was, I think I went for psychology. I changed my major so many times in college. Yeah.
Hard to pinpoint what you want to do when you're a multifaceted individual. So,
Yeah, and you're young, and you haven't really seen anything yet. You don't really have any life experience. I mean, obviously you have some, but not enough to make a full on decision on what you want to do with the rest of your life. I think that a lot
yeah,
of times we're pressured earlier on to figure things out when we don't really give ourselves the time to grow and find out what we're really interested in. What we'll be able to put our 150% everything behind, as opposed to just a job that you go to day to day, getting
exactly,
by.
exactly. Well, I mean, it's typical and it's common to be unsure about the path that you want to take in your life, but music, from what I see, was one of those things that you were for sure about.
That's one of the only things I've ever been for sure about in my whole entire life. Like, we go through so many things of uncertainty in our creative, in our day to day life, and music is really the only thing that I don't question when I have a million things going on. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. And from what I've noticed, and even in my own personal experience, music is one of those things that just keeps me going. No matter what mood I'm in, no matter what I'm facing, no
hmm
matter how many different tasks I have on my calendar, I can get through all of them if I have a good playlist going. So
Yeah.
I can definitely understand that. But going back to just the beginning of your career and your journey in music, what do you feel inspired you in your sound of music and your approach to it? Was it just you? Did it come from your?
Um.
Do you have influences?
I think I have the same influence as any other young black man that grew up in the church has.
Yeah.
Like all the great R&B musicians over the years: Stevie Wonder, Babyface, Prince, Michael Jackson, Whitney Houston, Anita Baker. Like the list goes on. But as far as my own personal sound, I just like getting out of my own way and just kind of feeling out whatever comes to me. And
Yeah.
most times when I'm doing anything, if I hear something, that's the start of it for me. Like whenever an idea comes to mind, I'm like, okay, I
Mm-hmm.
got something. And I try to get as close to what I hear in my head as possible. Sometimes we fall short of that, but I
I'm
just
glad
try to
you
do what
mentioned.
I hear.
I'm glad you mentioned that. Can you tell me a little bit more about what the creative process is like for you when an idea comes to thought?
Mm,
Do you ponder on it for a couple days? I know my favorite
I
art.
mean, it varies sometimes. Sometimes some ideas come a little faster than others for me.
Yeah.
But I'm not opposed to letting something breathe if it doesn't feel like it's coming out as concise as I need it to.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I have songs where it took me no time, literally like 15 minutes, and I got some songs that have taken me forever to write.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And going back to what you mentioned earlier about life experiences, I feel like
Mm-hmm.
we were talking about that in relation to choosing a career path, but I think it's like that for writing music as well or being an artist. Sometimes you have a great idea that comes to mind and you're like, okay, let me sit on it for a little bit. And then it takes for you to go through something. Tell me if you can relate
Mm-hmm.
to that, but it takes for you to go through
Oh yeah.
or to have a certain experience for the full
Mm-hmm.
idea, to
Yeah.
come into play.
One of my favorite quotes is from a movie, Five Heartbeats, and he's like, "You're not really a great songwriter till you get your heart broken."
Oh,
So sometimes you just gotta go through things. I don't know if that's exactly the quote, but
ooh,
sometimes you just gotta go through.
that is nice.
Yeah, sometimes you just gotta
Yeah,
go through something to be able to write whatever it is that you're trying to convey. But
absolutely.
I feel like a lot of people shy away from going through things or
Mm,
being vulnerable to talk about what they're going through. But at the end of the day, you never know who needs to hear your story.
yeah, the story is so important, especially as
Hmm.
a creative, is very important. So, since we're talking about that, or since we're on the subject of that, how does your environment and your current community affect your creativity? And how do you manage that? How do you balance it all?
I have a pretty good community around me now. I don't feel like anyone's pushing me in necessarily the wrong direction or anything like that. I have people that push me to be better and push me to evolve and push me to level up in everything that I'm doing, and that in turn has pushed me to think about things in a lot of different ways and how to be more effective and
Mm,
get the word out on things. But
yeah.
my community is pretty solid. I don't really have people around me that I feel like are going to throw my energy off, or
Mm,
because one thing can throw any of your energy off, and
that is
if
so
something does throw my energy off, it's nothing to do with anybody that's around me for the most part.
Yeah, that's something that comes from within. So, say if you
Hmm.
do have a moment as a creative and something is throwing you off or you feel off balance, do you have any rituals that you perform to kind of help yourself clear your mind and pull yourself back in to yourself or the project? Or have
I just
any?
lock in. I just lock in. Honestly,
Yeah.
I go nonverbal and I just kind of reevaluate everything I have going on around me and what's important and
So, more like
what's
a healthy isolation.
sometimes in full transparency. It's not always the healthiest isolation, but sometimes I might need some time or a day or two of just nothing, like
Yeah.
complete nonverbal. I might not be working that day. I might not be writing any music. I might not be doing anything that day. It's just
Yeah.
recalibrating the noise because it's already outside noise we deal with, but we also deal with a lot of inside noise up here too. So I just try to
Absolutely. Absolutely.
keep my
Absolutely.
mind clear when I can help it.
Yeah, and I noticed that what you do, especially with your content, you're pretty consistent with that. So how do you stay consistent with pushing out your content and not over consuming social media? Do you have, I mean, is that something that's a hands-on experience for you, or do you have somebody running your page? How do you
No,
go?
I do all of my content outside of like the actual music videos, but
Yeah.
I typically, if I have an idea for something, I'm like, okay, I'll just put the phone down and record it because I realize that if I don't film it right then, I'm not gonna do it. So that
Yeah.
kind of helped me get out of my head. Just do it right now. Don't think about it. If it comes out good, cool. If not, scrap it. Get another one. But I film so many different things that you know something is gonna go at some point.
So this is not even one of the questions, but the fact that you said that actually brings me to another question that I have.
Mm-hmm.
What advice would you give, or do you want your, especially people in your audience, to know when it comes to content creation or just pushing their creativity and getting their ideas out there?
Get out your own way. And I know that's easier said than done, but sometimes comparison is a thief of joy, and we're always looking at what everybody else is doing, and we get caught up and we get in our heads. But it's easy to overthink anything in life, and
Yes, it
I
is.
am I am not exempt from overthinking at all. But when it comes to certain creative things, I'm just like I gotta get out of my way. Like I gotta
Mm,
get it out now. I gotta get the idea down. I gotta get the whatever it is. I feel like I gotta finish it to some degree, and then from there, okay, you can sit here and look at this a million times, but no, post it and keep
yeah,
moving. You know,
go
like
ahead and do it. Have you
Rome
always
wasn't
been
built
like
in a
that?
day. No,
Yeah.
no, 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 no. I had so many people in my corner just, man, you're playing around. You need to be dropping. You need to be showing people all the stuff you're doing. Show people your personality. And I was like, nope, nope. And
Yeah.
then one day I was
Nobody
like, let me
was.
try it. And I put it down and I filmed it and it did well. And I was like, this is so simple. And
Mm-hmm.
I didn't understand why it was a thing, but it was. And I was like,
Most
well,
of the
screw
times
it. Got to run with it.
you overcome it until you actually
Mm-hmm,
just go ahead and do it. And I've
mm-hmm,
come to realize it's really an energy thing. When I don't overthink things, especially when it comes to my own content creation, or even just simply putting together an outfit or whatever, when I don't overthink it and I'm just like, hey, this is what I got, this is the time that I have,
mm-hmm,
I'ma just, rock it out. That's when I get the most compliments. So that's when people are like, oh, you look great. And I'm like,
mm-hmm.
this is terrible.
Yeah,
But it's something about the rawness and the authenticity that comes behind
yeah.
that kind of feeling, or they call it inspired action, that I
Mm-hmm.
think really attracts the energy that you want from people or from your audience. So I definitely understand that. So my next question is, how do you push yourself through moments of creative blocks or doubt? Do you ever have doubt or creative block?
Every creative has that, but I'm
Yeah.
in the new space where writer's block doesn't exist, and I say that because a song gonna either be good or bad. And sometimes you gotta write a bad song to get to a good song. And sometimes
Yeah.
you'll write a bunch of bad anything before you get to something that you feel is a positive representation of your creativity and your expertise level. But at the end of the day, sometimes you just gotta push past it. Like it's either you either let that stop you or you roll with it and you don't know what's gonna be on the other side of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's always something on the other side, but you'll never know unless you get to it. So,
Mm-hmm.
for
Yeah.
sure. I know oftentimes it's cliche to say, but people say a winner never quits and a quitter never wins. So, um,
Mm-hmm.
you'll never see it until you get to the other side. And I also heard of this other quote that came to me the other day, and I think it said, "Sometimes the process can be slow, but quitting will never speed it up. So you
Mm-hmm.
have to keep going, no
Yeah.
matter how much time it takes. Just keep going." Um,
Yeah.
and then I want to know a little bit more about the projects that you've done as an artist. Um, is there a project that you have worked on throughout your journey as a creative that pivoted you in your career, or that has pivoted you in your career?
Oh yeah. My last album, Faith, I dropped January of last year, and
It's called Faith.
that's yeah, FAYF. Um,
F-
yeah, it's opened so many different doors for me.
Is there a reason
Just
why you
off the,
decided to spell it that way?
I think of things in very simplistic ways sometimes, almost to a fault, and I think the innocence of a child is so pure that when I see them spell things a certain way, it's like it might be wrong, but you understood what they meant.
Oh
And
yes.
sometimes just in the process of conveying a thought, like everybody views things and the perception of something is different, but regardless of where you are in your own journey, seeing the spelling and sounding it out, it's like, oh, faith. Okay, it's like then you begin to have
Your own perspective
your
of it.
own
Yeah.
perspective of what the music is and what it feels like and what it means to your own personal journey, because the album for me is my own personal journey with faith. Yeah.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And going back to
Yeah.
what you just said, it doesn't have to be perfect to put it out. But
Yeah, and it starts it's such a project that I layer from top to bottom, where it starts someone like the person that the album starts with is a completely different person by the time it ends, and like the subject
yeah,
matter and what he's going through and what I'm talking about, it
yeah,
put a lot of things in perspective for me.
absolutely. So faith. You
Yeah.
that way. I like that. And then you
Yeah.
said that was the project that pivoted you. So why?
Mm, acronym for faith, FAYF, was facing all your fears, and it felt like creatively it was very different for me releasing that project, because prior to it I hadn't released anything in like 4 years. And
Mm,
but I really wanted to have a timestamp on something that felt like, no, this is real art. This is the highest quality art that I can give, my current version can give you right now.
yeah.
And it just evolved over time. It's the first piece of music that I really sat and took my time with up until that point, and I saw the difference in how it was received compared to other things. So that gave me a point to where, okay, I learned this is how I should be creating music, and this is what I should be putting into perspective when I'm going about creating things and rolling things out, and how I want people to connect with it.
Got you. So you had to spend a little bit more time with it, pretty much.
I spent a significant amount of time on it, honestly, but I got to the point where I was like, okay, chasing perfection is a losing game also. Like there's only so much I can do right. This current version of myself can do right now. Like
Yeah.
sometimes you just gotta let something go and keep moving.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we can all relate to that for sure. Especially if you're a creative. Like you said, going back to what we talked about in the beginning, it doesn't have to be perfect, and sometimes you do have to spend a little bit more time on
Mm-hmm.
it to get the results that you want. But patience is a virtue, and when you put all your
Yeah.
effort, your time into it, and you really allow God or whatever higher belief that you believe in to work with you and talk to you about it, um, I've noticed in my own experience that's when you get the best results because you actually put your
Mm-hmm.
thought into it. And to be honest with you, just relating that to some of the current music artists, and not to put anybody down, but I'm such a music lover. You know, I love old school music. I do love modern music as well, but I enjoy
Mm-hmm.
the modern music from artists that really put their best foot forward. And sometimes
Yeah.
they sit on it. Sometimes these artists will tell you, "Oh, I've been working on this album for the last 4 years, and nobody ever knew."
Mm-hmm.
You know, they went
Yeah.
into that silence, that solitude,
Mm-hmm.
their comfort place, and they really just spent time with it. So from one artist, from one creator to another, I can appreciate that you did it. And to be honest
Mm-hmm.
with you, I listened to your single "Close to You," and I felt that. I felt that from
Yeah.
the visuals, from the sounds, from the background artists. Everything was just so well put together. And
Mm-hmm.
you even added a little plot twist in there. Okay, I'm thinking you and the girl gonna get together at the end and whatnot.
It's
And
funny because
I
everybody was so
know,
upset with me, and it was like, why didn't it happen? And I'm just like, for anybody that knows me, it's just like
I
I'm
can
very,
enjoy you.
I'm
Yeah.
very odd, just kind of, and I also enjoyed the tension of, maybe not tonight, but any
Yeah.
other time. Like for me, I just kind of feel like we chase impulsive things so often that
Mm.
sometimes the impulse will get you caught up. So at the end of the
Yes, it
day, for my
will.
own personal journey, it's like, yeah, we might have had that crazy connection, but sometimes
Maybe,
everything isn't meant to be,
maybe not right now.
maybe not right now. Maybe it'll circle back around later, but
Yes,
you
yes.
know,
And I
y'all don't know what I was going through that night. Y'all know what she was going through that night,
she could be
It
crazy.
just
You never know.
could be
I could be
anybody
crazy.
could be crazy. No, that's my friend. I
Yes.
love her. She's amazing. She's
No, she
amazing.
was absolutely, and
Yeah.
I was spend a couple of seconds speaking on her. She was beautiful, absolutely gorgeous from all angles. I was like, okay, it's a
Every
tourist
single
thing.
one.
I love it because the aesthetics was there, the sound was
Yeah.
there, the face was giving, face cards was
Yeah.
there, everybody in the,
Yeah.
I was like, okay, he really put his best foot forward with that one. And this is kind of off subject, but I just do want to ask. You do remind me a little bit of Sir. I don't know if you
Hmm.
know who Sir is,
Of
but
course, of
you
course.
remind me of him in a way. I don't want to align you with him because you're your own artist. But the
I'm
sound,
just happy to be mentioned. I'm
yeah,
just happy to be mentioned. That's all. I'm happy to be mentioned. I'm appreciative.
yeah, it was just amazing. And trust me, I have an ear for music. So when I was listening to the song, this is for the audience. I'm letting them know, but I'm telling you as well. I'm giving you your flowers. The raspiness that was in your voice,
Mhm.
I was like, oh, he grew up in church. I hear it. I hear it. It was, come on, chef's kiss. You ate that. You ate that. So we're gonna skip down to the last few questions. Since we're talking about new projects and everything, um, I want to know about your intent and your heart behind that track. I know you spoke on it just a little bit now, but I want to dive a little bit deeper into that, and I want to know
Mm.
more about the projects that you have coming up in the future.
So for close to you, I was seeing someone and she was amazing, and it before everything kind of went left in the relationship, you just have that feeling of being really into someone and
Yeah.
wanting to be just wrapped in their essence. And up until that point, that song, like when I finished singing that song, I was like drenched in sweat. Like I felt like it took a lot out of me to get the song out. Like
Mm,
it
yeah.
was very, it pushed me in the delivery of the song. Like I felt like
Mm,
I had to mean every word to get it out. So I just pulled that I pulled it from an honest place, and it ended up being what it ended up being. And
yeah.
I sat on the song for maybe 2 years, maybe 2.5 years before I put it out. And when I put it out, it was the first song I put out in like 4 years,
Yeah.
and it
Oh,
just
really?
started doing its number. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. And what did you do
Hmm.
during those 4 years? Were you just taking a break, focusing on yourself?
No, I was working the whole time. I didn't feel like I had a complete thought yet. I don't
Mm,
really like releasing. Well, I don't have a problem with it now, but back then I don't want to release any. I wanted to release the project and just call it a day. I
yeah.
didn't really see the point in singles and building things out. Like I like to give a complete thought and
Yeah.
move on.
Yeah.
So it got to the point where before I decided what the album was gonna be, I was just like, man, like how do I want it to sound? And Close to You was very definitive in that
Yeah.
process. It felt like I don't care what I put out, this is going on it. Like there's no way that this song isn't a part of whatever's coming.
Yeah, exactly. So that was kind of like your footstep forward. Like, okay, we're gonna go
Yeah, and I'd had a solid amount of songs that made the album before I
Yeah.
made Close to You, but that one just felt like, okay, sometimes you have a centerpiece on the album where everything kind of revolves around it, or
Mm-hmm.
it's a standout song to where you know other things will pair with it well. And that one just felt like such a pure R&B record,
Yeah.
especially in a space where we don't
Definitely.
necessarily have
R&B.
that type of music right now, and
Yeah.
it's the way
Us
the
more
frequency
so.
that we used to receive it back in the day. So
Yes,
yeah.
exactly. And that's what the vibes was giving me in the visuals. It was giving me like a music soul child type of vibe,
Mm-hmm.
approach to um, just visuals. I appreciated it so much. So I'm gonna pick it up a little bit. Sorry, I didn't know how far. The conversation can go on and on. I
I'm
can go
weak.
well past 30 minutes, but we gonna keep it
Oh,
cute.
good. Yeah.
So, that's your latest release, and why did you choose this song or video to spotlight during your, um, I guess, rooftop vibe month?
It just feels like the most accurate representation of what I
Mm,
want to bring to R&B, as well as what I feel like is missing right now. And
absolutely.
it, even though I've released a lot of things since then, that song has sparked such a movement for me that, seeing as how this is the residency for the rooftop vibe, it felt like,
Yeah,
okay, if this is their platform's introduction to me, what
yeah,
better way to introduce myself than the song that is an introduction for a lot of newcomers right now, you know?
exactly, exactly. And let me tell you, you definitely put your best foot forward. So, I think it's a great representation of who
Thank you.
you are as an artist. I've been sharing your content and your clips, um, but whatever you put forth from now on, I will share everything because I think you're such an
Thank you
amazing
so
artist,
much.
and people need to know about you.
Thank
People
you.
complain about real music and how it doesn't exist
Hmm.
anymore, but when it's there in front of them, sometimes the lack of exposure or the lack of clout or whatever you want to call it, it keeps them from
Hmm.
supporting. So
Yeah.
I feel like if you want to be a part of someone's audience or their supporters, you got to support them from the beginning, from day one. It all counts. Every step counts.
Every bit counts, but I never feel a way when people support how they want to support. I think a lot
Mm,
of times creatives nowadays, people take things so personally, but I'm in the wheelhouse where I'm just grateful. I'm grateful
yeah,
for any listen, every listen, whether it's one person, 10 people, 100 million. Like it's, I'm grateful for one, because like how can God bless me if I'm not appreciative of one? You
exactly.
know,
Hey,
so
and that's where it starts. All it takes is one
yeah,
person.
all it takes is
The
one.
word spreads like fire.
You can get a no a million times. One yes will open an entire door of possibilities. I'm just in a space
Absolutely.
where, yes, a lot of madness going on in the world and even in our own minds and hearts, but I just want to be of service and appreciative. You know,
Absolutely. Absolutely. So speaking of doors opening, I don't know how much you've had your foot in the music industry so far. Um, but if you have, what is the biggest lesson being in the music industry has taught you?
self awareness
Mm, okay.
and being cognizant of the things going on around you and making sure your business is right, making sure that the people around you have your best interests at heart and they're
Mm,
not using you for anything.
yes.
having a strive for greatness mindset. You know, can't nobody want it more than you want it.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
a lot of times we get caught up, and I've said this a few times in this interview, we get stuck in our own way and we get
Yeah,
in our heads. And sometimes the people around you see that, but uh, a team is only as strong as its coach.
that's
Ship
true.
is only as strong as its captain, so on and so forth. All analogies dealing with that. But, it's just, you just got to have your head on. At the end of the day, you go through things, but when you need to lock in, just lock in.
Absolutely. Locking in is the most important thing that you can do. Because while
Mm-hmm.
everybody else is doing what they got to do, they'll look back and be like, "Wow, how did Jabriel get here? When did he
Yeah.
get here? When was he
Yeah.
working on this?" You know.
Mm-hmm.
But locking in and lessening the distractions is extremely
Mm-hmm.
important because it's a lot of doors
Absolutely.
that are open for you, but you want to pick the right one for
Mm-hmm.
sure. So I feel that you are protected, and no matter what decision you make, you're going to be great regardless because it's written for you.
Thank you. I receive it.
Absolutely. I'm going to sprinkle that on you just a little bit. Okay, so what's next for you after the spotlight? Do you have any upcoming shows or events? I think I saw that you're going to be going on tour soon here. So,
I got a few performances coming up.
okay.
July 12th, one night only. The gallery is coming up. I've
Okay.
been dropping music every month, all 2025. I started December 2024, and we're going all the way up to 2026.
Come
Just
on
dropping
now.
every month, keeping the
Come on,
content going,
Foresight. Yeah,
rolling out the songs, rolling out the visuals, keeping the content coming, keeping the behind the scenes coming. Like,
absolutely.
just finding ways to stay creative, honestly.
Is there any specific events coming up that you really want your audience to know about so they can pop out and support you?
I'm gonna post it when it's time. Yeah, but we got some stuff coming up for sure.
I got
Some dope things. Yeah.
you. Okay, okay. Well, I was hoping you mentioned something here in Houston, cause
Hey, it's on the list. It's on the list.
okay. All right. Well, y'all hear him. Stay in tune, stay in touch. Keep up with his updates and his posts, and come out and support him and whatnot. And then I have just a couple last questions that I feel like are really important to touch on. Where do you see your music going in the next year? And then, do you have any dream collaborations? Anybody, you can name anyone.
Mm. My dream collab is Stevie Wonder.
Okay.
Even if it's just sitting in a room and listening to him talk, I'm good.
He's so
um,
amazing.
right. As far as the next year, we're just building more and more foundation. This is just the roadblocks right now. We're building up. We're getting some solid momentum going. I I, I want to continue to just be present. I want to continue to feed my listeners and give them gems to take on their journey, music to uplift them, music to help them through whatever they're going through. But I'm excited for the next year and where we're headed. It just feels like I'm doing so much releasing right now that I haven't really had the chance to kind of just smell the flowers yet. Like I'm smelling the flowers, but it's just kind of like you ever just grind and you just got your head down and you're doing your homework and then you look up and then it's like, oh, okay. So
We got
that's
this
just kind
far.
of the phase we're in right now. Yeah,
Yeah, got you, got you. Well, you just keep on going,
got to.
keep pressing through. I'm already knowing you got some heat in the safe for us, so I'm excited.
Oh, it's coming. It's coming. I'm so excited.
But in
I'm
the
so
meantime,
excited.
y'all, tap into Close to You. I promise you, it's going to be probably one of the best 5 minutes of your visual life. You're going to enjoy it. So, you got it. Thank you so much for talking with me today, Jabril.
Thank you.
I'm glad we was able to make it happen today, despite
Oh
all
yeah.
the obstacles. I'm glad we were
Right.
able to make it today. Thank you for giving me your time. Continue to enjoy your weekend. Enjoy yourself.
Thank you. You too.
Yeah, just keep your head up. We're here to
You too.
support you. All
I
right. Thank
appreciate
you
you.
so much.
Uh,
Good talking to you.
Good talking to you too.
All right. Have a good
Uh,
night.